The crypto fear and greed index is flashing red right now, but is there anything really to be afraid of? Hey guys, Sheldon Evans here, welcome back, or if you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on all of those bell notifications. As you know, it really is much appreciated. So on my display right now, I have the Fear and Greed Index open, which I'm sure you're very familiar with by now, as it has been passed around like crazy, especially after the downturn that we had back in May, and many of the new investors were trying to figure out what is going on with the market, and they were turned to this indicator right here. Now, historically, the levels that the Crypto Fear and Greed Index is at right now has been an historically good time to purchase crypto. Why? If we go by the famous quote by Warren Buffett, buy when others are fearful and be greedy when others, that is not the quote at all. It's be greedy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are greedy. So that is exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be buying crypto at these levels. When the market is fearful, you often have to do the exact opposite of what the herd is doing, because if you follow the crowd, if you follow the herd, that is how you get burnt. But I don't want to talk about this too much. I actually want to talk about some of the things that are going on in the market that counteract this indicator directly. And the first thing I want to talk about, of course, is the update to Twitter, the Bitcoin Lightning Network tipping mechanism that has been integrated into Twitter. Now, Jack Mallers posted this update a few days ago explaining how this integration works and how you can use it. You can simply link your Moon wallet or your Strike account to your Twitter profile, and you can tip somebody who has the same integration on their Twitter profile. Now, this piece of news is so incredibly important, and I think it's being underplayed. To me, this is one of the most bullish pieces of news that we've had in the past year for cryptocurrency. Forget about EIP 1559, forget about all the technical upgrades that happen across cryptocurrency. This is something that truly indicates that we are entering an era of mass adoption of cryptocurrency. And the reason that I say that is, at the current present stage, I've spoken about this many times, there are millions of people in cryptocurrency, right? But we are yet to enter the stage where billions and billions of people are using crypto on a daily basis. Most people do not care about the tech, whether you like it or not. They do not care about what goes on behind the scenes of cryptocurrency. You don't care whether you're using Ethereum, whether you're using Cosmos, whether you're using Polkadot or Cardano. If it works, and that's all you care about. The same as using Twitter, same as using Facebook. You don't care about the tech behind the scenes. You're using the platform, it works, and that's all you care about. Now we're entering that very same stage for cryptocurrency with this upgrade right here. Now, the reason that I say that is that Twitter already has billions and billions of users around the world, and so does Facebook, and so does Instagram. All these social networks already have these ginormous audiences that they can bring cryptocurrency to. Now, one of the major hurdles that we get with crypto is that there are tons of hurdles and steps that you have to overtake in order to get into cryptocurrency, right? You have to download a wallet, you have to use MetaMask, you have to figure out what's going on behind the scenes, you have to make sure you get the right address and that you don't lose your funds. These are tons of steps that many people don't care to take on. They don't care to do this because it's scary, it's cumbersome, and they don't want to use it. But with an upgrade like this brings cryptocurrency to everyone around the world without any technical knowledge, without any hurdles or steps. They simply log onto Twitter, connect their wallet, or can integrate with Strike, and they can send Bitcoin and they can tip people around the world on the Lightning Network for absolutely nothing. And that's exactly what Jack Mallers mentions in this video. I suggest you go look at it in your own time, but he sends from Chicago to El Salvador, he sends $10 of Bitcoin instantaneously, and it mistakenly or accidentally becomes one of the best remittance experiences in the world. And he actually quotes that, he says that in the video, and you can read, "Why would anyone ever use Western Union again? When you take one of the world's largest social networks and you combine it with the world's best open monetary networks, Twitter accidentally becomes the best remitting experiences in the world." Now, this is absolutely big. This is huge. This is probably one of the biggest pieces of news that we've seen this year, and that's why I'm so bullish that we have possibly a Q4 rally. We have a rally into the beginning of 2022. Who knows? Of course, we could go down in the meantime. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to pump to new all-time highs this year or in the next few days, but this is just one of those pieces of news that I've mentioned, bits and pieces of these over the past year or 2 years, that I've mentioned on this channel, saying that these are the things that you should be looking for if you're looking for the major rallies that are coming up for cryptocurrency. If you think that you're too late, these are the pieces of news that you need to focus on if you want to really understand how early you are to this revolution, right? Now, another huge upgrade to Twitter is this sort of test that they're doing right now. Now, of course, it's just a test. It isn't something that they've actually implemented yet. This is just a sort of mock-up, a sandbox that's happening behind the scenes, which is NFT verification on Twitter. Now, yes, I'm talking a lot about Twitter today, and I'm going to talk about a few different social networks today. But this is, again, one of those things that's bringing mass adoption of cryptocurrency to the world, right? You can verify your NFTs on your Twitter profile. So if you have purchased an NFT on Ethereum or on any blockchain, you can then connect your wallet to your Twitter profile and verify your NFT. As you can see, the NFT has now been set as the profile picture, and you've got a little Ethereum symbol there showing that it's been minted on the Ethereum network. Now, again, this doesn't really matter, right? No one cares what network you're on. If you want mass adoption, you see your favorite celebrity is boasting some NFT that they've purchased for millions of dollars, and you want to join their club and you want to purchase the same NFT. Doesn't matter whether it's on Ethereum, doesn't matter whether it's on Solana, doesn't matter whether it's on Cardano. No, it matters who has that, who is boasting that NFT, and where the hype is. That is what the speculative market is about. That is where speculation in NFTs come from, right? There's no true base value. There's no reason for NFTs to be valued the way that they are, except for the fact that we give them that value. And that is so incredibly important. Of course, NFTs have tons of other uses like real estate on the blockchain and tokenizing contracts and so on. There's many of these things that have real world use cases for NFTs. But if we're talking about the speculative market and where the real hype has come from right now, you can even see in NBA Top Shots and all these huge real world industries that have integrated NFTs and sort of adopted NFTs, that NFTs are sort of their own entity away from cryptocurrency, right? Some people are in NFTs or have purchased NFTs or know about NFTs, but don't really know much about crypto. And that is quite an interesting thing to me, because that is the huge mass adoption side of crypto, right? Because your neighbor might have an NFT or purchase a pair of sneakers that comes linked to an NFT, but know absolutely nothing about crypto, just know that they own this non-fungible asset, right? And this is absolutely massive. And I think this is also one of those things that is going to bring mass adoption to crypto in the next few months to a few years, possibly within the end of this year. If something like this gets integrated, I think it's absolutely huge. And linking onto this, we can see that there really is a lot of hype driven behind these NFTs. And when we see things like this, Snoop Dogg revealing himself as an Ethereum NFT whale with a $17 million NFT collection. So Snoop Dogg was sort of undercover, lurking around Twitter, lurking around OpenSea, buying NFTs with $17 million as Cosimo Medici on Twitter. And he came out that this is actually him and this is his Twitter account. And he's been this mysterious figure who has been purchasing millions of dollars of NFTs. It shows that your favorite celebrities, huge stars around the world, are purchasing NFTs, even though they might not necessarily be into cryptocurrency. They're in the metaverse, they're buying NFTs. And if their followers and the people who look up to these celebrities who are in their clans are doing the same thing, you're going to see tons and tons of money come into crypto. And that's simply through NFTs alone. That's where I truly do believe the mass adoption for crypto comes from, is from integrations like this with Twitter, as well as NFTs. Now, we also have some news from other social networks, and that is, of course, Facebook announcing a $50 million investment fund tasking with developing its own virtual metaverse. Again, NFTs, $50 million from Facebook is peanuts. It's absolutely nothing. It's pocket change if we compare it to the size of Facebook itself. But this just shows that the start is here, that these huge multinational companies are working on integrating NFTs into their ecosystems, right? Think about if you had Facebook, you have a profile on Facebook. Sure, maybe it's a boomer thing. Maybe older people have Facebook, but you log onto Facebook, you log onto your virtual world, you have your virtual sneakers, you have art on the walls, you have whatever you want in this digital world, right? All these NFTs. And you can also have exclusive NFTs in that metaverse. Maybe you pay for adverts on Facebook with NFTs. Maybe you pay for advertising with cryptocurrency. This integration, bringing these current huge billion-dollar industries that are currently happening right now in the real world, bring them over to the metaverse. Facebook sort of maybe evolves into this world where cryptocurrency is used to pay for advertising. You walk into the metaverse, there's an advert on the wall that is paid for with cryptocurrency. This is the future that we're talking about. These are the things that will really drive billions and billions and trillions of dollars into cryptocurrency in the very, very near future, in my opinion. And that's simply outlining what I said earlier, is that 2.85 billion monthly users use Facebook. You bring the metaverse to 2.8 billion people, you best believe there's going to be a ton of money flowing into the network with that. So In its latest announcement, Facebook asserts that its metaverse is not necessarily about spending more time online. It's about making the time you do spend online more meaningful. As dumb as that sounds, spending time in the metaverse is not necessarily my preferred way. I'm not really one who wants to live in this digital world, right? But it does not mean that the rest of the world doesn't want that. This is going to be a massive, massive thing that comes in the near future, where everybody is sort of living in this VR world, right? But again, it doesn't necessarily mean we have to live in a VR world if we're entering the metaverse. Playing around on the internet, buying NFTs, playing games, that is all in the metaverse. You don't necessarily have to be in VR. But this is absolutely massive news from both Facebook and Twitter. Then we have a massive upgrade. Again, some more bullish news. We've got bullish news left, right, and center today coming out of our ears after a historically boring or bearish month, which is September. October, November, December are typically quite bullish months, and we have massive changes coming across the cryptoverse right now with these huge upgrades that are happening. And one of the most anticipated upgrades has actually just taken place minutes before I started filming this, which is the Columbus 5 upgrade for Terra. Now, if you follow along in the private community, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of Terra, I'm a huge fan of Luna, of UST, and of Cosmos as well. And this is one of these upgrades that really does become a game changer for Terra and for cryptocurrency with inter-blockchain communication, right? With the IBC and Terra integrating all these networks together and possibly becoming the de facto stablecoin UST for many of these networks like Solana, like Cosmos, and so on. So this is a massive, massive upgrade, probably one of the most anticipated we've had. And it could potentially see massive demand for UST, which in turn creates a lot of value for Luna in the upcoming months. Now, if you don't know what UST is, I did have a very detailed explanation about Terra and Luna and why I'm so bullish on this ecosystem in the private community. But UST is the only dollar-pegged stablecoin that isn't exposed to risk. Right now, all of DeFi is literally dependent on two centralized companies, Circle and Tether. Decentralized finance needs decentralized money. Now, you guys know there's so much FUD around Tether, so much FUD around USDC and all these centralized stablecoins that basically these assets have to be backed by real world money, have to be backed by real world assets. And there's no real way to prove if that truly is the case. If the crypto market is backed by fake money, if Tether has just been printing money out of thin air, very similar to the US government, then perhaps the crypto market is propped up by fake money. And if that is the case, if something happens to Tether, if something comes out that we find out that Tether is actually not backed by anything, not only Tether is what will crumble, right? The entire crypto market will crumble. Bitcoin will crumble because Bitcoin is mostly bought by Tether. If we look at the minting chart of Tether and you see how much Tether is printed, you can see that it pretty much coincides exactly with the rise of Bitcoin. So this is a very, very important thing that we need to focus on here. And the problem with this is that Tether and Circle are centralized entities, whereas UST is a decentralized stablecoin, and the one that actually works, an algorithmic decentralized stablecoin. And that is why I'm so bullish on this Terra ecosystem, because regulators they have an attack vector, but not as many as attacking something like Tether or Circle. So very, very important news coming up for October with tons of protocols launching now on top of Terra with this Columbus 5 upgrade. They've only got a few right now, and Terra is already almost in the top 10. I see this easily becoming a top 10, top 5 coin within the next few months. Then, of course, we have one step closer towards Ethereum 2.0 with the Altair upgrade happening in October, towards the end of October. I think October 27th is when the estimated block or epoch will be. So Ethereum's network is long planned upgrade to a scalable proof-of-stake consensus model grows as developers set a date for the Altair upgrade. Now, this upgrade brings light client support to the core consensus, cleans up beacon state incentive accounting, fixes some issues with validator incentives, and steps up the punitive params as per EIP 2982. So we've got this huge upgrade coming, one step closer towards ETH 2.0, which again is a majorly anticipated upgrade that will happen next year sometime. And I do have some maybe contrarian views on what will happen after that upgrade, but I do believe that many people locking Ethereum into ETH 2.0, staking and validating, could potentially see a bit of a dump after that happens, in my eyes, because people have locked up their ETH into the ETH 2.0 contract and they can't get it out until that happens. And things happen in different times. People want their money. Some people want to validate for an extended period of time. Of course, it's all speculation depending on what happens then eventually. But the lead up to these things, of course, buy the rumor, sell the news is what is the most important. So until ETH 2.0 comes around, I still do believe us having a longer extended bull run until we do see the full upgrade. But as for right now, we are one step closer, at least towards the end of October, to the ETH 2.0 upgrade with the Altair upgrade. So finally, we have a Bitcoin ETF, which could arrive as soon as October. And this is quite an interesting thing, right? These ETFs have been an ongoing narrative, an ongoing talk that we've had for many, many years of these ETFs being approved and bringing mass adoption to cryptocurrency again. Now, there's two tasks or two sides to crypto investing, right? There's the speculative side, and then there's the decentralized believers side, right? The people who are saying that if you are in cryptocurrency and you purchase through an ETF or you buy through a trust or through a grayscale fund or something like that, that you're not a true cryptocurrency head. That doesn't matter. If you want to bring money into the ecosystem, it doesn't matter how you get into it. If you're a speculator and you want to speculate on the price of these things, you're going to do it that way. The same as if you're investing in the stock market and you want a way to enter the stock market, but you can't necessarily buy on the US stock market. So again, you go over to Terra and you use Mirror Protocol and you start buying synthetic assets that are on the stock market. You don't have direct exposure to the stock market. Does that make you not an accredited investor? There's all these things that you have to take into account that it doesn't really matter which way you go into the market. As long as you have some exposure to it, it's going to bring money into the market. And that's why these ETFs could be absolutely massive for the market, because it will bring larger funds, larger investors, larger institutional investors into cryptocurrency, because they have a safer or more direct route into getting into cryptocurrency without going through the self-custody route. So very, very important thing. And I do believe that we could see some approvals of this due to the fact that, of course, the Canadian EFT, the ETC, was approved yesterday, and that brought in a ton of volume. So we could see the same thing happen for the US, because they don't want to miss out on that volume. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening in October. Then I pulled up this chart seconds ago, which is Bitcoin exchange reserves. Now, on-chain analysis and on-chain reserve data and so on gets a lot of flack sometimes because it doesn't always coincide perfectly with what happens in the market. But we do see that the reserve on exchanges, the Bitcoin on exchanges, is reaching the lowest levels that it's reached since ever, basically, since October 2020. We're now below the lowest level that we've had since then. So this is very bullish news, because what does this mean? It means that people are buying Bitcoin and taking it off of exchanges and locking it away in cold storage, because they believe that the value will go up in the future, not right now. They're not looking to sell it in the short term. And we noticed this with these dips when investors were selling off, when these liquidation cascades were happening. People weren't selling off Bitcoin that they purchased many years ago. All the newer investors were selling off, but the long-term whales, the long-term hodlers, they've been holding onto their crypto and they're buying more when the dips happen. And the final thing we have, which is exactly this, the report showing that institutional investors bought the crypto dip caused by China. So if you want any more indication that the market is manipulated, just look at stuff like this. When we see that there are tons of inflows, $95 million of capital inflow into the market during that crypto ban that caused a bit of a dip in the market, tons of new money came into the market. Does that mean that people are scared, or does it mean that people are buying the dip or trying to buy as low as possible because they believe the value will go up in the future? Of course, we have some very bullish news from Coinbase as well. Coinbase's new directed deposit feature will allow you to get paid directly in crypto. Now, back to the beginning of this video when we spoke about Twitter and Facebook, this is one of those pieces of news that is so incredibly important, again, that you have no idea. So cryptocurrency fans may soon be able to have their paychecks directly deposited to Coinbase, one of the largest, most popular crypto exchanges, can have their paid automatically deposited as Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency. Now, you could get your paycheck deposited into Coinbase as the whole paycheck, or perhaps a portion of it is used to buy Bitcoin, a portion of it is used to buy Cardano, a portion of it is used to buy Polkadot, whatever it may be, however you set it up. This is very, very bullish. Why? If you have millions of people around the world getting their paycheck automatically deposited into Coinbase, what does that mean? It means that their paycheck is getting automatically pushed into the ecosystem of cryptocurrency. It's getting automatically pushed into Bitcoin and Ethereum and Cardano and so on. What does this do? It props up the value of these assets, makes a higher value. More speculative investors see the price of this rising, they purchase in, and we see that FOMO rise to the top and a blow off top. So it's this hype-driven market is what we're looking for. This is exactly what's going to do that. This is one of the most important pieces of information as well that we've had. And if this happens with Coinbase, we'll start seeing this from other exchanges too, I'm pretty certain. But One thing that we do need to keep in mind is that if we look back to the past, and of course the past doesn't always go exactly as the future should hold, right? We don't have to follow the same path as has happened in the past. That is a horrible way of saying that, but you understand what I mean. And the top of the market in 2017 was marked by the launch of the CME Bitcoin futures, right? So could the launch of an ETF do the same thing? Could it be the top of the market this time? Personally, I don't believe that to be the case at all. Now, if these ETFs do get approved towards the mid-end of October, it's going to take at least another 2 months, 3 months for them to launch, then to get investors in. So what does that line up with? The end of December. Perhaps we have a Q4 December blow off top as these futures and ETFs get approved and investors start buying into them. Who knows? All complete speculation at this point, but all I'm saying is that be very aware of what has happened in the past. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to repeat itself at all. This time is very, very different. We have yield-bearing assets. We have tons of different blockchains. We have tons of new investors. Everything is really different this time. We have NFTs. All the stuff is different. So this is just something to keep in mind in the back of your head. But I do believe that we still do have a strong closeout towards the end of the year, or maybe even the beginning of 2022. But either way, I'm so incredibly bullish on cryptocurrency and the future that we have over the next few months. I hope you're as ready as I am for the next leg of this bull market. Possibly, but we'll see how things go. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because I will be back making more content like this. As always, I shall see you in the next video. Cheers.